Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Business English Learning channel. We're really happy you're here with us today. My name is David.
And I'm Emily. If this is your first time listening to our channel, welcome. Our goal is to help you improve your English for real-life professional situations through natural conversations.
That's right. Many people study English for years, but when they need to introduce themselves in English, especially in a professional context, they suddenly feel nervous.
Yes, that happens a lot. Someone asks a very simple question like, "Tell me about yourself." And suddenly it feels like a very difficult question.
Exactly. Even though it sounds simple, many people don't know where to start or what information to include.
And sometimes people give answers that are either too short or too long, or they include information that isn't really relevant.
So in today's episode, we're going to talk about how to answer the question, "Tell me about yourself," in English, especially for beginners.
This question is extremely common. You might hear it during a job interview, a networking event, a business meeting, or even when meeting new colleagues.
And the good news is that answering this question doesn't have to be complicated.
Exactly. With a simple structure and a little practice, you can give a clear and confident self-introduction in English.
In today's conversation, we'll imagine a situation where someone is preparing for a job interview and practicing how to introduce themselves.
We'll go step by step and discuss what kind of information you can include in your introduction.
All right, Emily, let's begin.
Sure. David, let me ask you a question that many interviewers ask. Tell me about yourself.
That's a great question, and it's definitely one of the most common questions in interviews. When answering this question, I usually start with a brief introduction about my professional background.
Why do you start with your professional background?
Because in most professional situations, the person asking the question wants to understand who you are in terms of your career, education, and experience.
That makes sense. So what would you say first?
I might start by saying something like this. My name is David, and I'm a marketing professional with several years of experience in digital marketing and brand development.
That sounds very clear and professional.
Thank you. It gives a quick overview of who I am professionally.
And after that first sentence, what would you talk about next?
Next, I would talk a little bit about my previous experience or the kind of work I have done.
Could you give an example?
Sure. I might say something like, over the past few years, I've worked with several companies where I helped develop marketing strategies, manage social media campaigns, and analyze customer engagement data.
That's a great way to describe your experience.
Yes, and it also gives the listener an idea of what I'm capable of doing.
Do you also mention your education?
Yes, especially if education is relevant to the job or the situation.
How would you include that?
I might say something like, I studied business administration at university, where I developed a strong interest in marketing and communication.
That sounds natural and informative.
Exactly. The goal is to provide useful information without making the introduction too long.
That's a very important point. Some people think they need to tell their entire life story.
Yes, but in professional contexts, it's usually better to keep the introduction focused and relevant.
After talking about experience and education, what comes next?
After that, I usually talk about my key skills or strengths.
That helps the listener understand what you're good at.
Exactly. For example, I might say, one of my strengths is my ability to analyze market trends and develop creative marketing campaigns.
That's a good way to highlight a specific skill.
Yes, and sometimes I also include a short example to support that statement.
Could you give an example of that?
Sure. I might add something like, in my previous role, I helped launch a social media campaign that increased customer engagement by more than 30%.
That's a strong example because it shows a real result.
Exactly. Results help make your introduction more convincing.
I think many beginners worry that their English isn't perfect.
That's very true.
What advice would you give to beginners who feel that way?
I would tell them that their introduction doesn't need to be perfect. What's most important is being clear, confident, and authentic.
That's great advice.
Even a simple introduction can be very effective.
Could you give an example of a simple self-introduction for beginners?
Sure, a beginner might say something like this. Hello, my name is David. I recently graduated with a degree in business administration. I'm very interested in marketing, and I enjoy learning about how companies communicate with their customers.
That's simple but very clear.
Exactly. It gives basic information about the person's background and interests.
Do you think it's important to talk about your goals as well?
Yes, that can be a great way to finish your introduction.
How would you include that?
I might say something like, currently, I'm looking for opportunities where I can continue developing my marketing skills and contribute to a dynamic team.
That's a very professional way to end the introduction.
Thank you.
Let's imagine a full example now. If someone asked you in an interview, tell me about yourself, how would you answer from start to finish?
I might say something like this. My name is David, and I have a background in business and marketing. I studied business administration at university, where I developed a strong interest in marketing strategy and consumer behavior. After graduating, I worked with a small marketing agency where I helped manage social media campaigns and assist with digital advertising projects. During that time, I developed strong communication and analytical skills. I enjoy working in collaborative environments and finding creative ways to connect brands with their audiences. Currently, I'm looking for an opportunity where I can continue growing professionally and contribute to meaningful marketing initiatives.
That's an excellent introduction. It sounds natural, professional, and well organized.
Thank you.
I notice that your answer follows a clear structure.
Yes, that's very important.
Could you explain that structure for our listeners?
Of course, the structure is actually quite simple. First, introduce yourself. Second, talk about your background or education. Third, describe your experience and skills. And finally, mention your goals or what you're looking for.
That's a very helpful framework.
Yes, and once you understand that structure, it becomes much easier to organize your thoughts.
Let's talk about another situation. Sometimes you need to introduce yourself in a meeting when joining a new team.
That's very common.
How would you introduce yourself in that situation?
In a team meeting, the introduction might be slightly more casual but still professional.
Could you give an example?
Sure. I might say something like, "Hello everyone, my name is David. I recently joined the marketing team as a digital marketing specialist. I have experience working with social media campaigns and online advertising, and I'm really excited to collaborate with all of you."
That sounds friendly and professional.
Yes, and it helps create a positive first impression.
First impressions are very important in professional environments.
Absolutely. A good self-introduction can make people feel more comfortable and interested in working with you.
Some people also like to include a little personal information in their introduction.
That can be a nice touch depending on the situation.
For example,
For example, after introducing yourself professionally, you might add something like, "Outside of work, I enjoy reading, traveling, and learning new languages."
that makes the introduction feel more human and relatable.
Exactly. But it's important to not include too much personal detail, especially in formal situations.
That's a good point.
The key is to keep the introduction balanced.
Another thing beginners sometimes worry about is pronunciation.
Yes, many people feel nervous about speaking English in front of others.
What would you say to someone who feels that way?
I would remind them that communication is more important than perfection. Most people appreciate effort and clarity more than perfect grammar or pronunciation.
That's very encouraging.
Practice also helps a lot. If you practice your self-introduction several times, you'll feel much more comfortable when the moment comes.
That's great advice.
Another useful tip is to prepare a short introduction that you can adapt to different situations.
That way, you're always ready when someone asks you to introduce yourself.
Exactly. David, do you remember the first time you had to introduce yourself in English in a professional situation? Yes, I do. I remember feeling very nervous because I was worried about making mistakes.
That's a very common feeling.
But once I started speaking, I realized that the most important thing was simply sharing my story clearly.
And did it go well?
Yes, it actually went better than I expected.
That's great.
That experience taught me that confidence grows with practice.
I think that's a very important lesson.
Definitely. Well, I think today's conversation has given our listeners a clear idea of how to answer the question, "Tell me about yourself," in English. Yes, Remember, your introduction doesn't have to be complicated.
Just follow a simple structure: who you are, your background, your experience, and your goals.
With practice, you'll be able to introduce yourself naturally and confidently.
And that's a very valuable skill in both professional and everyday situations.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, that brings us to the end of today's conversation.
Thank you for listening and practicing your business English with us.
We hope this discussion helps you feel more confident when introducing yourself in English.
See you next time.
Goodbye, everyone.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our English Learning Podcast. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most common and important questions you may hear when meeting someone for the first time, especially in professional or academic situations. The question is very simple, but many English learners find it difficult to answer. The question is, tell me about yourself.
Yes, that question sounds very simple, but when people hear it, they sometimes feel nervous. They start thinking about many different things at the same time. They wonder what information they should share, how long their answer should be, and how to organize their thoughts clearly in English.
Exactly. Some people give answers that are too short, while others give answers that are very long and include too many details. But the good news is that introducing yourself in English can actually be quite easy if you follow a clear and simple structure.
That's right. A self-introduction is really just a short story about who you are. You don't need to share your entire life story. Instead, you choose a few important details that help the listener understand you better.
And this question appears in many different situations. For example, you might hear it during a job interview, on the first day of school, in a meeting, at a networking event, or even when you meet new friends.
Yes, and the way you answer the question might change slightly depending on the situation, but the basic structure remains the same. The goal is simply to introduce yourself in a clear, friendly, and confident way.
So today we are going to have a long conversation about how beginners can introduce themselves in English. We'll discuss simple ideas, helpful phrases, and practical tips that can help you speak naturally.
That sounds great. Let's start with something very basic. When someone asks you to talk about yourself, you can begin with a simple sentence about who you are.
Yes, something very simple, like your name and maybe where you are from.
Exactly. For example, you might say, "Hello, my name is Alex and I'm from Spain." Or you could say, "Hi, I'm Maria and I'm originally from Brazil."
Those are very simple and clear sentences. Starting with your name helps create a friendly and comfortable atmosphere.
Yes, and sometimes people also include a small personal detail, such as where they live now or what they currently do.
For example, someone might say, "My name is David. I'm from Italy, but currently I live in Germany."
Yes, that's a good example. It gives the listener a little more context about your background.
After introducing your name and location, the next step is often to talk about what you do. This could be your job, your studies, or your main activity at the moment.
Exactly. If you were working, you can say something like, "I work as a marketing assistant at a technology company."
Or if you are a student, you might say, "I'm currently studying computer science at university."
Yes, those types of sentences help people understand your professional or academic background.
Another useful thing to include in your introduction is your experience or interests related to your work or studies.
That's true. For example, someone might say, "I've been working in customer service for about 3 years, and I really enjoy helping people solve problems."
That sentence not only explains the person's job, but also shows their attitude toward their work.
Exactly. An attitude is important. When you talk about yourself, it's helpful to show enthusiasm about what you do.
Let's imagine a situation where a student introduces themselves on the first day of class.
That's a very common situation. A student might say something like, "Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. I'm from Canada and I'm studying business administration. I'm interested in marketing and entrepreneurship."
That introduction is simple but informative. It tells the listener the student's name, origin, field of study, and interests.
Yes, and that's exactly what a good introduction should do. It provides clear information without being too long.
Another thing many people include in their self-introduction is a brief mention of their interests or hobbies.
Yes, hobbies can help make the introduction more personal and friendly.
For example, someone might say, "In my free time, I enjoy reading books, traveling, and learning new languages."
That sentence shows personality and can also help start a conversation. If someone shares similar interests, they might continue the discussion.
Exactly. Introductions are not only about giving information, they're also about creating connections with other people.
That's a very important point. Communication is about building relationships.
Let's talk about a slightly more professional situation, such as a job interview.
Yes, in interviews, the question, "Tell me about yourself," is extremely common. Employers ask this question to learn about your background and your experience.
But many candidates feel nervous when they hear this question.
Yes, because they're not sure what the interviewer expects to hear.
In an interview, a good answer usually focuses on three things: your background, your experience, and your goals.
Exactly. You might start by explaining your current role or education.
For example, someone might say, "I recently graduated with a degree in information technology, and during my studies, I developed a strong interest in software development."
Then the person could talk about some relevant experience.
Yes, they might say, "During university, I worked on several group projects where we built small applications and learned how to collaborate as a team."
And finally, they might mention their goals.
Exactly. For example, "Now I'm looking for an opportunity where I can continue learning and contribute to real-world projects."
That kind of answer shows motivation and direction.
Another important tip for beginners is to keep the language simple.
Yes, many learners believe they must use complex words to sound professional, but in reality, clear and simple English is often much better.
Simple sentences are easier to understand and easier to remember.
Exactly. When your message is clear, people pay attention to your ideas rather than your grammar mistakes.
Confidence plays a big role in self-introductions.
Yes, even if your English is not perfect, speaking with confidence makes a strong impression.
Confidence doesn't mean speaking loudly or quickly.
Right. It simply means speaking clearly, calmly, and naturally.
Practice can help build that confidence.
Absolutely. The more you practice introducing yourself, the easier it becomes.
A good exercise is to write a short introduction about yourself and practice saying it out loud.
You can practice in front of a mirror, record your voice, or practice with a friend.
Each time you practice, you will notice that your speech becomes smoother and more natural.
Yes, and eventually you won't need to think about every word.
Another helpful tip is to listen to how other people introduce themselves.
Yes, listening to conversations, interviews, or podcasts can give you many useful ideas.
You may notice common phrases and structures that people use.
And you can adapt those phrases to create your own introduction.
Before we finish today's episode, let's remember one important idea.
Your self-introduction does not need to be perfect.
It simply needs to be clear and sincere.
When you speak honestly about who you are and what you do, people will understand you.
And the more you practice, the more comfortable you will become.
Exactly. Confidence grows through practice and experience.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to today's episode of our English Learning Podcast. We hope this conversation helps you feel more confident when introducing yourself in English.
Keep practicing, keep learning, and keep speaking English.
And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode of our podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our English Learning Podcast. We're really happy to have you here with us today. If this is your first time listening, this podcast is designed to help you improve your English through natural conversations about real-life situations, especially situations that happen at work, in interviews, or in professional environments.
That's right. Our goal is to help you become more confident when speaking English. We focus on practical conversations so you can hear how people naturally speak in real situations. I'm Speaker 2, and as always, I'm here with Speaker 1.
Thanks. Today we're going to talk about a very common question that many English learners face, especially in job interviews, networking events, meetings, or even the first day at a new job.
Yes, and that question is, tell me about yourself.
Exactly. This question sounds simple, but many people find it surprisingly difficult to answer. When someone asks, "Tell me about yourself," they often don't know where to start or what information they should include.
That's true. Some people start talking about their entire life story, while others give very short answers that don't really explain who they are or what they do.
So today, we're going to have a detailed conversation about how to introduce yourself in English in a clear and simple way, especially if you're a beginner.
And we'll demonstrate a natural example where one person is preparing their self-introduction and another person helps them improve it.
Great. Let's imagine this situation. Speaker 1 is preparing for a job interview and wants to practice answering the question, "Tell me about yourself." Speaker 2 is helping them practice.
All right, let's begin the conversation. So, you mentioned earlier that you have a job interview coming up next week. How are you feeling about it?
Honestly, I'm a little nervous. I feel confident about my experience and my skills, but I'm worried about the interview questions, especially when they ask me to introduce myself.
You mean the classic question, tell me about yourself.
Exactly. I've heard that question many times, but every time I try to answer it, I feel unsure about what to say.
That's completely normal. Many people feel that way. The key is to organize your introduction in a simple structure.
What kind of structure do you recommend?
Usually, a good self-introduction includes 3 main parts. First, you briefly talk about who you are. Second, you mention your background or experience. Third, you explain what you are currently doing or what you are looking for.
That sounds simple enough, but when I actually try to say it out loud, I sometimes get stuck.
Let's practice together. Imagine I'm the interviewer. I'll ask the question and you try to answer it naturally.
All right, I'll try.
Okay, here we go. Tell me about yourself.
Hello, my name is Daniel, and I'm a marketing professional with about 3 years of experience. I started my career after finishing my business degree, and since then I've been working in digital marketing. In my current role, I focus on managing social media campaigns and analyzing marketing data. Recently, I've been looking for new opportunities where I can grow professionally and contribute to a dynamic team.
That's actually a very solid introduction.
Really? I felt like I was missing something.
Not at all. Your answer is clear and professional. You introduced yourself, mentioned your experience, and explained what you're looking for.
That's good to hear. But what about beginners who don't have much work experience yet?
That's a great question. Beginners can still give a strong self-introduction by talking about their education, interests, and goals.
Could you give an example?
Of course. Imagine a student who recently graduated and is applying for their first job. Their introduction might sound something like this.
Okay, I'm listening.
They might say, "Hello, my name is Sarah. I recently graduated from university with a degree in business administration. During my studies, I developed an interest in project management and teamwork. I also completed an internship where I assisted with organizing events and coordinating schedules. I'm now looking for an opportunity where I can apply my skills and continue learning in a professional environment."
That sounds very clear and simple.
Exactly. A self-introduction doesn't need to be complicated. The most important thing is that it is organized and easy to understand.
I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is giving too many details.
That's absolutely true. When someone asks you to introduce yourself, they don't expect a long life story. They just want a brief overview of your background.
So it's better to keep it focused.
Yes, think of it as a short summary of your professional identity.
Another thing I've noticed is that some people only talk about their past experience, but don't mention their future goals.
That's a good observation. Including your goals shows that you are motivated and thinking about your future.
So ideally, your introduction should connect your past, your present, and your future.
Exactly. That's a great way to describe it.
Let's practice another example. Suppose someone is attending a networking event and meets a new professional contact. How would they introduce themselves?
In that situation, the introduction can be slightly more casual but still professional.
Could you demonstrate?
Sure. Someone might say, "Hi, my name is Alex. I work as a software developer and I specialize in building web applications. I've been in the tech industry for about 4 years, and I really enjoy working on projects that involved creative problem solving. Recently, I've been exploring opportunities to collaborate with other professionals in the tech community."
That sounds natural and friendly.
Exactly. Networking introductions should be professional but conversational.
Another situation where self-introductions are important is the first day at a new job.
Yes, that's very common. On the first day, you often need to introduce yourself to your new team.
In that case, what kind of information should you include?
Usually, you can mention your background, your role, and maybe something personal, such as your interests.
That makes the introduction more relatable.
Exactly. For example, someone might say, "Hi everyone, my name is Michael. I recently joined the company as a data analyst. Before this, I worked in a consulting firm where I focused on analyzing customer behavior and business trends. I'm really excited to be part of the team, and outside of work, I enjoy hiking and photography."
That's a nice introduction because it feels both professional and friendly.
Yes, and that helps create a positive first impression. Speaking of first impressions, why do you think the self-introduction is so important?
Because it sets the tone for the rest of the conversation. When you introduce yourself clearly and confidently, people immediately get a sense of who you are.
And if your introduction is confusing, it might make the conversation more difficult.
Exactly. That's why it's helpful to practice your self-introduction before important situations. Do you recommend memorizing it?
Not exactly memorizing it word for word. It's better to remember the structure and key points.
That way your introduction sounds natural.
Yes, if you memorize every word, it might sound robotic.
Another challenge for English learners is pronunciation and confidence.
That's very true. Even if your grammar isn't perfect, speaking clearly and confidently makes a big difference.
So practicing out loud can really help.
Absolutely. Practicing with a friend, recording yourself, or repeating your introductions several times can improve your fluency.
Let's talk about another example. Imagine someone changing careers. How might they introduce themselves?
That's an interesting situation. They might say something like, "Hello, my name is Jennifer. I spent several years working in customer service, where I developed strong communication and problem-solving skills. Recently, I decided to transition into the field of human resources because I'm passionate about helping organizations build positive workplace cultures. I've been taking courses and gaining practical experience to prepare for this new career path."
That introduction clearly explains the transition.
Yes, and it helps the listener understand the person's motivation.
I also think enthusiasm is important during a self-introduction.
Definitely. When you speak with energy and interest, people feel more engaged in the conversation.
So your tone and body language matter as well.
Exactly. Smiling, making eye contact, and speaking clearly all contribute to a strong introduction.
Let's imagine another scenario. Someone is introducing themselves in an online meeting with a new international team.
In that case, clarity is especially important because people may come from different backgrounds.
What might that introduction sound like?
It might sound like this. "Hello, everyone. My name is David, and I'm joining the team as a product manager. I have about 5 years of experience in product development, mainly in the technology sector. In my previous role, I worked closely with designers and engineers to launch new digital products. I'm really looking forward to collaborating with all of you and contributing to the upcoming projects."
That introduction clearly explains the person's role and experience.
Yes, and it also expresses enthusiasm about joining the team.
The more examples we discuss, the more I realize that a good introduction is really about clarity and simplicity.
Exactly. You don't need complicated vocabulary to introduce yourself effectively.
Simple, clear English is usually the best choice.
Absolutely. Especially for beginners, focusing on clear sentences and logical structure is the most important thing.
Well, this has been a very helpful conversation.
I agree. Self-introductions are one of the most useful skills.
Hello, and welcome to Business English Conversations.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast where we practice real English used in everyday life and at work.
My name is David.
And my name is Erica.
We are very happy that you are here learning English with us today.
In this podcast, we talk about useful English topics that help you communicate more confidently.
especially in professional situations.
and also in everyday conversations.
Today, we have a very important topic for beginners.
Yes, this is one of the most common questions people hear when they meet someone new.
The topic today is how to say, "Tell me about yourself" in English. Easy self-introduction for beginners.
This question appears in many situations.
For example, during a job interview,
At networking events,
when meeting new colleagues.
or even when starting a class,
Many English learners feel nervous when they hear this question,
because they're not sure what to say.
or how long their answer should be.
But don't worry,
In today's conversation, we will show you how to answer this question step by step.
we will use simple and clear English.
And we will share useful examples you can practice.
By the end of this podcast, you will know how to introduce yourself confidently.
So, let's begin.
Emma, let me ask you the question.
Go ahead.
Emma, tell me about yourself.
That's a classic question.
Yes, it is probably one of the most common interview questions in the world.
Okay, let me give a simple answer.
Great.
Hello, my name is Emma. I work as a project manager at a technology company. I have about 5 years of experience managing projects and coordinating teams. I enjoy organizing tasks and helping teams achieve their goals. In my free time, I like reading, traveling, and learning new languages.
That was a very clear introduction.
Thank you.
Let's analyze that answer so our listeners can understand the structure.
Good idea.
The first step is introducing yourself.
Yes, you can start with something simple like,
Hello, my name is.
or, "Hi, I'm."
Both are natural and polite.
After that, you usually talk about your job or background.
Exactly.
For example, I work as a marketing specialist.
Or, I'm a software developer.
If you are a student, you can say, "I'm currently studying business administration."
Or, I'm a student at the university.
The third part is talking about your experience or skills.
Yes, especially in professional situations.
For example, I have 3 years of experience in sales.
Or, my main focus is digital marketing.
Then you can briefly mention something about your interests.
This helps people understand your personality.
For example, in my free time, I enjoy hiking and photography.
Or, I like reading and learning about technology.
That makes your introduction feel more natural.
Exactly. Now, let me try answering the question.
I'm listening.
Hi, my name is David. I work as a marketing manager at a media company. I have over 7 years of experience in digital marketing and brand strategy. My work mainly focuses on developing marketing campaigns and analyzing customer data. I enjoy creative problem solving and working with teams. Outside of work, I like playing basketball and listening to podcasts.
That was a great introduction.
Thank you.
You clearly explained your background.
And I kept it simple.
That's the key.
Many people make their introduction too complicated.
Yes, especially English learners.
They try to say too many things.
But a good introduction is usually short and clear.
Usually about 30 to 60 seconds.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about a beginner-friendly structure.
Good idea.
Here is a simple formula you can follow.
Step 1, say your name.
Step 2, talk about your job or studies.
Step 3, mention your experience or skills.
Step 4, add a personal detail.
This structure works very well.
Let's create an example for a student.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Alex. I'm currently a university student studying computer science. I'm interested in software development and artificial intelligence. During my studies, I've worked on several programming projects. In my free time, I enjoy gaming and learning about new technologies.
That's an excellent student introduction.
Thank you.
Now, let's try another example for someone looking for a job.
Good idea.
Hello, my name is Sarah. I recently graduated with a degree in business management. I have experience working in customer service and sales. I enjoy working with people and solving problems. I'm currently looking for opportunities where I can grow professionally and contribute to a team.
That sounds very professional.
Yes, and it's simple enough for beginners.
Now, let's talk about common mistakes.
That's very helpful.
One mistake is giving too many personal details.
Yes, especially in professional situations.
For example, talking too much about your family.
Or unrelated hobbies.
In interviews, it's better to focus on your professional background.
Another mistake is speaking too quickly.
When people feel nervous, they often speak faster,
But speaking slowly helps people understand you.
and it makes you sound more confident.
Another mistake is memorizing a script word for word.
That can make your introduction sound unnatural.
Instead, learn the structure and practice speaking naturally.
Exactly. Now, let's practice a longer introduction example.
Great idea. I will give a slightly longer answer.
Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Emma. I work as a project manager in the technology industry. I have about 5 years of experience managing cross-functional teams and coordinating complex projects. My main responsibilities include planning project timelines, organizing team communication, and ensuring that projects are delivered on schedule. I enjoy solving problems and improving team efficiency. Before this role, I worked as a project assistant where I developed my organizational and communication skills. In my free time, I enjoy traveling, reading business books, and learning new languages.
That was an excellent professional introduction.
Thank you.
You clearly explained your background.
And I kept it simple.
That's the key. Many people make their introduction too complicated.
Yes, especially English learners.
They try to say too many things,
But a good introduction is usually short and clear.
usually about 30 to 60 seconds.
Exactly.
Now, let's talk about a beginner-friendly structure.
Good idea.
Here is a simple formula you can follow.
Step 1, say your name.
Step 2, talk about your job or studies.
Step 3, mention your experience or skills.
Step 4, add a personal detail,
This structure works very well.
especially for beginners.
Now, we have a question for you.
Yes, we would love to hear your answer.
Imagine someone asks you, "Tell me about yourself." How would you answer?
Try writing your introduction in English.
You can start like this. Hello, my name is.
I work as.
I have experience in.
In my free time, I enjoy.
Practicing this will help you become more confident.
And it will prepare you for interviews and conversations.
Thank you so much for listening today.
We hope this podcast helps you introduce yourself in English more easily.
Keep practicing every day.
And remember, confidence grows with practice.
From both of us, goodbye, everyone.
See you in the next episode of Business English Conversations.